Beloved, there is a secret that has been hidden in plain sight, so simple that many overlook it, yet so powerful that it can transform every moment of your life. It is the secret to hearing the Holy Spirit every single day, not occasionally, not only in crisis, but daily, gently, clearly. The Spirit of God is not distant. He is not silent. He is always speaking. The question has never been, is he speaking? The real question is, are we listening? Most people live from the outside in. They are governed by noise, pressure, opinions, fear, and the urgency of the world. But spiritual hearing begins when you reverse that order, when you begin to live from the inside out. Stillness is not weakness. Stillness is power under control. When you quiet your mind, when you slow your breath, when you withdraw your attention from chaos, you create an atmosphere where divine communication flows naturally. The Holy Spirit speaks in impressions, in nudges, in quiet certainty. He does not shout to compete with your thoughts. He waits for your attention. Awareness is everything. What you are aware of, you align with. When you become aware of your inner world, your thoughts, your emotions, your subtle convictions, you begin to recognize his voice because it carries peace, clarity, and truth. Now hear this clearly. Clarity comes through obedience. Many want guidance for tomorrow while ignoring instruction for today. Every time you obey a gentle prompting, no matter how small, you tune your spiritual frequency. Obedience sharpens perception. Resistance dulls it. The Spirit trusts those who act on what they receive. And this is not built in a single moment. It is built through consistency. Relationship is formed through daily fellowship. When you make space every day, through prayer, meditation, gratitude, and expectancy, you are declaring, I am available. Availability attracts guidance. Intimacy creates fluency. You were designed to be guided. You were never meant to struggle through life, guessing your way forward. The Spirit within you is your divine compass. When you listen, trust, and follow, your life begins to flow, not by force, but by alignment. So today, choose stillness, choose awareness, choose obedience, choose consistency, and you will discover that the Holy Spirit has been speaking all along, waiting for you to hear, waiting for you to respond, waiting to lead you into a life of peace, power, and purpose. Stillness is not the absence of activity, it is the mastery of attention. Most people believe they cannot hear divine guidance because life is loud, demanding, and fast, but the truth is not that the spirit is quiet, it is that the mind is crowded. Every thought competing for attention becomes interference. Stillness is the deliberate decision to withdraw energy from noise and return it to the inner sanctuary where clarity lives. When the mind slows, perception sharpens. When outer voices fade, inner truth becomes unmistakable. The Holy Spirit does not force communication. He does not interrupt chaos. He waits for invitation. Stillness is that invitation. It is a posture of readiness, not passivity. When you sit quietly, not begging, not striving, but simply aware, you shift from effort into receptivity. This shift changes everything. You are no longer trying to hear. You are allowing yourself to notice. Guidance flows most freely when the need to control dissolves. Many confuse stillness with silence. Yet silence alone is not enough. Stillness is an inner alignment where thoughts settle and emotional turbulence calms. You may be in a quiet room and still be noisy within. True stillness is achieved when attention is anchored, when you stop rehearsing the past or predicting the future and rest fully in the present moment. The present is the only place where divine communication occurs. Stillness also requires trust. Trust that you do not have to figure everything out. Trust that answers will come without force. The moment you stop chasing insight, insight begins to approach you. This is why moments of clarity often arrive when you are relaxed, walking, or resting, rather than striving. The Spirit speaks most clearly when resistance disappears. Daily stillness trains the nervous system to recognize peace as a signal. Over time, you begin to distinguish between anxious thoughts and inspired impressions. One carries urgency and pressure, the other carries calm certainty. Stillness refines discernment. It teaches you the emotional texture of truth. The more familiar you become with peace, the faster you recognize guidance when it arises. Stillness is not withdrawal from life, it is preparation for right action. From stillness, decisions become effortless, direction feels natural. You are not pushed, you are led. When the mind is quiet, intuition becomes reliable. When the heart is calm, wisdom surfaces without strain. Those who cultivate stillness consistently develop a deep inner confidence. They are not easily shaken by circumstances because their reference point is internal, not external. They respond rather than react. They listen before they move. Stillness becomes a doorway through which insight enters. Timing is revealed, and next steps are impressed gently upon the heart, unfolding moment by moment through an inner knowing that feels both natural and undeniable. Awareness is the bridge between the ordinary and the extraordinary. Without it, life passes in a blur of reaction and distraction. To hear the Holy Spirit daily, awareness must become a practiced habit, an intentional focus on the present moment and on the subtle promptings that arise within. Awareness is not merely noticing what is happening around you, it is noticing what is happening inside you. It is paying attention to thoughts, emotions, and subtle nudges that often go unrecognized. Each inner whisper carries guidance, but it is only discernible when the mind is alert and receptive. Many live unconsciously, swept along by habit and routine, reacting to circumstances without reflection. In this state, the voice of the Spirit is drowned out by constant chatter. Awareness requires a conscious effort to pause and observe, to step back from automatic responses and allow insight to emerge. It is the practice of asking, what is happening within me right now, and what is stirring in my heart that might be more than my own thought. Every moment of awareness becomes an opportunity to tune into divine guidance, to recognize the difference between fear-driven impulses and spirit-led direction. Developing awareness is like training a muscle. At first, it may feel foreign or difficult. Thoughts resist being observed without judgment. Emotions demand attention and push for reaction. Yet, with consistent practice, the inner landscape becomes clearer and the voice of the Spirit becomes distinguishable from other influences. Awareness allows you to notice patterns, to see recurring nudges and confirmations, and to act in alignment with truth. Without awareness, opportunities to receive guidance are often missed because the signals are subtle, quiet, and easy to overlook. Awareness also sharpens discernment. When you are conscious of your inner state, you can separate impulses driven by fear, ID, or impatience from those inspired by clarity, peace, and conviction. The Spirit speaks in a voice that carries calm authority, a certainty that does not panic or demand. By observing your reactions and feelings, you begin to recognize this distinctive voice. Awareness allows you to pause before responding, to test impressions against the still, small sense of peace that accompanies divine direction. Furthermore, awareness deepens connection. When you pay attention to the movements of the Spirit within, you cultivate intimacy with the source of all wisdom. This is not a passive act, it is an active engagement with the present moment, a deliberate noticing that strengthens sensitivity. As your awareness expands, guidance becomes more frequent and clear, because you are ready to perceive it. Small nudges are recognized, subtle impressions are acted upon, and a rhythm of daily communion develops. Awareness is not a one-time skill but a continual practice, an ongoing cultivation of the mind and heart that tunes you to the frequency of the Spirit, allowing you to navigate life with insight, confidence, and alignment. Obedience is the key that unlocks clarity in spiritual hearing. Many seek guidance, waiting for perfect instructions, clear signs, or dramatic confirmations, yet the voice of the Holy Spirit often comes through small, subtle promptings that require immediate action. Obedience is not passive, it is the active choice to respond to those promptings, to move in faith even when the full picture is not visible. Each act of obedience tunes the soul, sharpening perception and opening channels for greater revelation. Without obedience, awareness remains dormant, like a musical instrument that is never played. The Spirit speaks in ways that are gentle yet persistent. It may be a thought, a feeling, or a sudden insight that calls for action. The problem is that NY dismiss these promptings, labeling them as coincidence or imagination. Obedience demands trust. Trust that what you sense is meaningful, and trust that responding will lead to growth, direction, and clarity. Every time you choose to obey, you are essentially saying, I trust this voice, and I will act on it. That trust is what strengthens spiritual sensitivity, because the more you act in alignment with guidance, the more distinct and confident the voice becomes. Obedience also trains the mind to distinguish between fear and inspiration. When a prompting aligns with truth and peace, acting upon it builds confidence. When hesitation dominates, doubt grows, and the voice of the Spirit becomes muffled. Small acts of obedience, such as speaking a kind word, helping someone in need, or following a simple impression, create a rhythm of responsiveness. Each action confirms to the soul that divine guidance is real, tangible, and trustworthy. This is why consistent obedience is essential. It builds a track record of reliability between you and the Spirit, reinforcing the pattern of hearing and acting in harmony. Furthermore, obedience multiplies influence. When you respond to guidance, it not only aligns your life with purpose, but also positions you to receive even greater direction. The Spirit rewards movement, and each step taken in faith opens new doors of understanding. Those who wait passively for signs often remain stagnant, but those who act obediently discover that guidance expands with each decision, creating a flow of clarity that seems almost effortless over time. Obedience is also a refining process. It reveals character, patience, and humility. Not all guidance will be dramatic or immediate. Some promptings may require persistence and repetition. The Spirit tests readiness through simple instructions first, building trust before revealing deeper insights. Each act of obedience strengthens spiritual discernment, helping to recognize true guidance from distractions. Over time, a pattern emerges, and the habit of immediate responsiveness becomes second nature. Life transforms when obedience moves from occasional to consistent, from reactive to intentional. It is deliberate alignment with the Spirit's nudges that clarity, confidence, and insight become daily companions, shaping decisions, relationships, and destiny in ways that feel guided, inspired, and certain. Consistency is the foundation upon which daily spiritual hearing is built. Many desire guidance, clarity, and intimacy with the Holy Spirit, yet they approach it sporadically, hoping for profound insights in isolated moments. True connection is not created by occasional effort. It is cultivated through repeated, disciplined practice. Each day spent tuning in, listening, and responding strengthens the pathway between the human heart and divine presence. Just as a muscle grows stronger through regular exercise, spiritual sensitivity deepens with consistent attention and engagement. Consistency is not about rigid ritual. It is about availability. It is the conscious decision to show up, to make space for communion with the Spirit, even when life feels busy, mundane, or chaotic. Small daily actions, pausing for prayer, meditating on truth, reflecting on inner impressions, or simply acknowledging the Spirit's presence, compound over time. These repeated moments of connection create a rhythm, a natural flow of awareness, insight, and guidance that becomes a reliable part of daily life. The mind and heart begin to expect communication, and the Spirit responds to that openness. Daily consistency also builds trust. The Spirit knows the heart that is persistent, that returns day after day, willing to listen and act. When you engage regularly, the relationship deepens and the impressions become sharper, clearer, and more immediate. Patterns of guidance emerge, revealing a reliable flow of direction that can be counted on in both small decisions and life-altering choices. Inconsistency, on the other hand, creates uncertainty and doubt. Sporadic effort makes it difficult to recognize the voice of the Spirit amid the noise of daily life. Because the channels are not well tuned, consistency transforms listening into an ongoing conversation rather than a series of disconnected events. Over time, You begin to sense guidance almost automatically, feeling nudges and insights as naturally as breathing. The Spirit's communication becomes a living presence, woven seamlessly into the fabric of everyday life. Each consistent act of listening, responding, and reflecting reinforces the connection, building a deep sense of intimacy and reliance that cannot be rushed or forced. Moreover, consistency trains patience and perseverance. Guidance does not always arrive in dramatic moments or through extraordinary circumstances. Often, it comes gradually, through small nudges and repeated confirmations. Those who maintain daily engagement recognize these subtle forms of direction, while those who are inconsistent may overlook them entirely. Consistency strengthens discernment, teaching the difference between fleeting impulses and true spiritual promptings. It cultivates a sensitivity that allows insight to flow naturally, guiding actions, decisions, and responses with ease and confidence. Consistency also multiplies results. The longer and more faithfully you engage with the Spirit, the more attuned you become. Life begins to align in ways that feel effortless. B. Because your choices are informed by a steady stream of guidance. Opportunities, solutions, and clarity appear not by chance, but as the natural outcome of a disciplined, persistent practice of listening and following. Daily consistency is the invisible architecture of spiritual hearing, creating a structure within which wisdom, insight, and divine direction can flow freely, shaping a life of purpose, alignment, and extraordinary awareness.